Hey, what's going on, everyone? Sorry about that. Isaiah Henry, First Position Real Estate. I help government employees invest in real estate so that they can build wealth, retire early. Today we have on Alvin Wong. Super excited for this. And look at him, punctual as always. Let me bring on Alvin in here. We'll get this thing started. I'm coming, Alvin.
Hey,
There he is.
how you doing?
What's going? I'm good, man. How are you? How are
Doing
you?
well. Thanks for having me on. This is exciting.
Oh, it is, man. I've been looking forward to it all week. So this is gonna be sweet. I'll do a quick intro for you if that's cool.
Yeah, go fire away.
Awesome, man. So it's Isaiah Henry here, First Position Real Estate. I help government employees invest in real estate so they can build wealth, retiring early. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Sudbury himself,
Oh
Alvin Wong with us. So it's going to be a
my
super
gosh.
good episode today. Alvin, anything you want to tell the viewers before we get started?
Um, let's get started. If do you want an introduction of myself?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you give me like a quick overview?
Yeah,
5 seconds. Someone says like, what I got to know about you in real estate?
yeah, just a quick introduction of myself. I'm a registered nurse by background, and I got the story with me is that I got laid off in a time when they needed the nurses the most, and I didn't want to have that same feeling, and I moved, found a new job, and brought me to Toronto. Found a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I got really super inspired. And I decided to go out and look for get one on a quest to find an investment vehicle, and this is where real estate came in. Got myself a high performance real estate coach that you and I both know,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
since then I never looked back. Now have 5 properties, yeah, and 13 units.
There you go, man. I'm telling you, that's the story. I love it, man. It was really cool. Like, we connected online social for a bit and then, actually meeting up in person. Kind of was like, man, it's so cool, seeing it when it comes together. But anyway, don't let me get my feelings. Let's get started. I got three
Sure.
questions for you.
Yeah.
Number one, so you're investing in Sudbury, which a lot of people probably know. You're into small multifamily assets. So it's anywhere between like, 2 to 4. Like, not saying you don't go bigger, but right now that's kind of what you're dealing with there. Why do you like that asset class and why have you chosen that asset class?
Yeah, so there's no right or wrong answer. I know there's a lot of people that focus on large, and what I'm about to share is just my experience. You can't go wrong with both ways. With myself,
Yeah.
as a novice investor when I first started, um, it was a lot easier for novice investors to get into smaller multifamily spaces. It's more affordable. It's easier to manage because when you have more tenants, it can be very daunting. There's a lot of conflicts. So having into being in a smaller multifamily space, you at least get to know the industry of real estate investing and what you're
Yeah.
getting yourself into. Location for diversification is easier because I started off in Windsor, and immediately when I saw a great deal in Sudbury, I decided to pivot there. And now since then, I love Sudbury, and now I'm focusing on that. It's also a very good learning opportunity, not just managing tenants, but also learning the ins and outs of the real estate investing and, qualifying for mortgages, 80% loan to value, A lenders, it's a lot easier. But in the commercial space, it's a little bit more mathematical. And if you're lucky, you get 75%. So,
No, that's good, man. You hit on so many. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna build on some of these, but you went through and you kind of hit all of the points right there. So I'll touch on one point, financing. So a lot of
yeah.
people say like, oh, I don't want to get into multi-units because the financing's harder. Have you found the financing between something like a single family or a condo versus like small multi? Have you found the financing to be harder, the same? What are your thoughts?
It's the same because they're classified as residential. So you're yeah. So if you're going anything more than four, like we're talking about five for up units, then that's
Yeah.
considered commercial. So regardless of single family condos or duplexes, triplex, and fourplexes, they're all classified as residential. So you're going to be going through like A lenders. So yeah,
There you go. No, and I feel like that's such a bonus. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to be the guy slinging around 50-unit apartment buildings all day and all night.
yeah,
But, especially like, where I am, I think you're probably a little bit ahead of where I am in the investing world. And being able to access that, amazing financing at a residential rate really helps you build a platform. And then, for you, you supplement, good deals, making money on the buy, the
yeah.
burn method, and before you know it, you've just, really exploded your portfolio, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I'll obviously have a good, amazing team with you. You know, with myself, I couldn't get to where I am today because of a good mortgage broker. They know the financing a little bit way lot better than me, and you should
Yeah.
really trust your team, who's a more expert than you, to help you qualify for the mortgages. So just because I know that some people are saying that, oh, you know, I don't have money, but there is something that you may not know that the mortgage broker or a mortgage specialist be able to dig into in your background and find out, oh, you can actually qualify for this property, whether it be
Yeah.
HELOC, home equity, yes, sorry, home equity line of credit, that's HELOC, or just like refinance that your existing home that you had, money that's dead, like dead money that's locked into this property of yours. So there's a lot of
100%.
strategies, you know, there's a lot of creative financing, and you need to have a good power team to help you to organize your thoughts, help you out, guide you to the right direction, and then you just execute. That's your job.
There you go. Now, again, smart guy, you're a nurse, you're in Toronto. Did you come up with like, did you just like find out all these creative financing strategies by yourself, or did you actually leverage, your mortgage broker and your team to kind of learn about that stuff and position it?
Absolutely, you have to rely on people in the very beginning because I came from a, like you said, registered nurse. We've never been taught about finances, and
Yeah.
so I need to find the right people. So we call these the right who, because you have some really good skills like for yourself, and myself. You know, we didn't come from a finance background, but we have some unique skills as well. But it is okay that you don't have that finance background. So you rely on a team member that has that skill, and then you work with them so that they can help you to qualify for the property. Yeah.
Oh man, you hit it out of the park. That's exactly like I feel even this month, like with interest rates kind of moving around, I think it's really showed who has a strong team.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people who are just like, running around frantic, but like, some of the other investors, like, I got a good team, we have a good plan, like I'm not that worried like about what's gonna happen. But that's neither here nor there. Let me get to my second question here.
Sure.
So a topic that you and I talk about quite frequently, cash for keys, it's a hot topic. And I know that you've had success, especially in your most recent deal. What are three takeaways from your cash for keys experience that you'd like to share with some people here today?
Yeah, so I do have quite a number of people that do ask me about this, and I'm glad you're bringing this up, and it will help viewers as well too. First thing I usually tell is to my audiences or the person who reach out to me is honestly be honest with your intention, because what you're doing is everyone knows, like whatever market you're in, the CBC, all the CTV has already broadcast what we real estate investors do about cash keys. We're trying to raise the rent value as well too, so there's no point of lying, there's no point of doing there's no point of hiding. So really be honest with your intention. However, there are some tips that I can definitely share to your audiences that you're not technically lying, because for myself and yourself, we buy distressed property, right? So if this is a distressed property, there's going to be safety issues, and hopefully you all did your home inspection. I usually bring in my home inspection report, and I usually tell the tenants, like, this is a very distressed property. You and I both know that there's rats, there's cockroaches, which is true. Here's the report. I'm not lying. Now I need to fix this to make sure it's safe. And this is where you're still being honest. It's true. So you need to have them to vacate. So, but what I also tell them to do is, if you're vacating them, you are technically kicking them out. It doesn't matter how you sugarcoat everything. The truth is, you are kicking them out. So you have to be in good intention to understand that it is hard to find other places to rent. So it's okay to give compensation. So you should give them some compensation. I know there's a lot of people that ask me, how much money should I give them? Well, if you were being kicked out, how much money do you need in order for you to find property?
Mm-hmm.
I know I've gone as far as 10,000, 10K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely 10K. That sounds outrageous to a lot of people, but you have to understand, you're getting a vacant unit. You have, let's just, in my rental, in Sudbury, in a new Sudbury area, where that is.
Yep.
For a 3-bedroom, you can rent a 2,000 2,000 a month, plus your refinances. You'll be able to make up that loss in literally less than 2 years. And
Yeah.
on top of that, you and I both have a full-time job. I'm a
Yeah.
nurse, so I will be making up for it as well too. So what is it that you're concerned about? So you need to understand that. Don't be stingy. Understand the tenant's point of view, and they already know that you want to raise the you want to raise the price. So that's pretty much it. And another thing that I would also suggest is to really listen to your tenants or your inherited tenants. So I always say the 70-30 rule. Honestly, don't even say anything. A lot of people, I know, for a lot of a lot of people that enjoys extrovert, you know,
Yeah.
it's really hard for them to be silent. Honestly, silence is the best communication tool. Just let them talk, let them air out. They're going to be angry at you. You have to understand why they're angry because you are kicking them out. So take that in, and eventually they'll calm down, and that's when you can start the negotiation process.
Okay. Wow, that's huge. That's so do I hear like an Alvin Wong Cash or Keys book coming out? A little ebook, a little PDF action? Oh my
Oh,
gosh. That would be killer right there. But no, you make such a good point. Like I feel I've had conversations similar with others and people are like, "Okay, I'm going to come in. I have maximum 8K for like no questions coming. Hey, Mr. Tenant, here's 8,000. You have to leave now." And if they say no, you kind of just played all your cards and you're like, oh crap, like what
yeah,
am I going to do? So you make a very good point about,
yeah.
talking and opening it up.
Yeah, and you're gonna encounter some tenants that money is not the driving force. You want to make sure that you understand the reason, their why. Everyone has a why to it. I've encountered tenants that do not want cash for keys. So you move on, you dig a little deeper to find out the reason why they don't want to vacate. And so in my situation, I found a person that the reason why they don't want to move out is because of the location. They want a better location. So you have to find creative ways. In my case, I had to find a property for them to transfer, to move.
Yeah.
And once I did, then I offered them cash for cash and also helped them with the moving and also found them a property and then more intentional and then they leave. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think right there, I feel that's what separates, people who buy property and real estate investors. Like you're going out there and you're literally solving problems. You're solving properties for that owner, you're
Yeah.
solving properties for that tenant. And as a result, you get compensated with a growth in your portfolio,
Yeah.
growth of wealth, growth in income. So that's huge. I feel a lot of people don't see the kind of work that goes on behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
I hope people are able to rewind and listen to that part. That's awesome there. All right, let me get to my last question here.
Sure.
So you invest in Sudbury, obviously, we talked about that, and you've been doing it well, you've been doing it successfully, and everyone shares these sexy stories about long distance investing, like, I've never seen it, like I bought it sight unseen, whatever, it's crazy. But what are some of the sacrifices and challenges you've had to make being a long distance investor?
Yeah. Absolutely. I like how you brought that question up. There's some good sexy stories, but there's actually what behind the scene we don't talk about is the ones that the challenges that we have. For myself,
Yeah,
I can speak for most of the investor, not just myself. You know, in the beginning, we all want that control. This is our baby. It's so understandable. No one will take care of your baby as much as you do.
yeah,
So, the biggest for myself, I want to see if the general contractor is doing a good job. I want to make sure the general contractor's not ripping me off. I don't want the general contractor to do this and do this, that without my consent. You gotta start letting things go. That
yeah,
was one thing that was the biggest lesson for me. And doing it properly. Yeah, you want to make sure that is up to fire code. There's no electrical live wire and blow up your house or a fire or anything like that. But if they can just do the property, renovate it nicely, um, without it's not perfect, as long as it gets done, then just let it go. It doesn't need to be perfect. And it's really frustrating that sometimes little stuff like mowing the lawn or changing the light bulb, you got nobody to help you, even though you have a property manager, but they're so busy sometimes. You have to
yeah,
understand that it can wait. Your property manager will take care of it. So really rely on your team, really trust your team. And that's the one thing that I really like about long distance investing because it really taught me to really trust my team, not micromanage. Because you and I both know we don't want to be micromanaged ourselves. So why are you micromanaging the people? Your job is to do, as an investor, is to find deal, negotiate. Those are two skills you should have.
yeah. And then, like, you said it so right. Like, you know, I feel people are like, oh, I need this to go here. You know, I got to make a trip out there. I got to make sure, like, when they lay the plank, it's got to be offset. I tell people, listen, flooring, paint, goodbye.
Yeah,
Like, other than that, like, I don't. They're like, oh, what color paint? What shade? I said, honestly, don't even make me mad. Just the
yeah,
same one I always order. Just use
yeah,
that and
yeah.
go away,
You said it
right?
exactly. Yeah, you said it absolutely correct. You know, you should be using the same paint. You should be using a lot of same things so it's that you can automate things. And once you build a relationship with your general contractor, just for example, that's just one example. They already know what you want. They won't even ask you, and then you'll be able to sleep at night.
Exactly. One thing I did want to go back on, you know, as you've gotten a little bit more, not advanced, more experience in yours, like something about the little issues, like you're not, like you're able to let it go. Like, because I remember my first property, I was like, whatever. I didn't have a maintenance issue for like 2 months. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is easy. Why
Yeah,
doesn't everyone do this? And then I had like, which isn't a big deal now, but like the faucet wasn't working.
yeah,
And I'm losing it. I'm calling I'm like this. I don't know what's happening. I'm almost in tears. And then like now someone calls me like there's a faucet. I'm like, yeah, like
yeah.
we'll handle it. How have you felt that like, you know, your experience has changed in regards to like maintenance issues or even any issue that comes up?
Yeah. So, like I said, you know, it's once you get longer in the game, where you and I are right now, you start to you start to realize that there are bigger issues out there than this. You'll start to be
Yeah,
into it that you think this will be so little that you don't. It's okay because in the beginning in the journey, you know, you don't know what's going on. That's why it's a journey because you're learning, and as you get more and more developed and more advanced in your real estate investing career, you start to realize what's important and what is one thing you don't need to worry about. Trust your team. You know, that's why you have a team. You have a handyman. You should have a handyman in the beginning of your journey. You should have a
yeah,
proper beginning because at the end, in the beginning, you need to rely on people, and as you get scale more and more and you get more experience, then you can do it in house if you want to. But in the beginning, you need to rely on your team. You need to trust your team. You know. So
100%, 100%, man. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. Did you have any for me today?
no, I'm good. Yeah, you're absolutely crushing it. I love your story. I love what you're doing. You're doing great thing.
And that's from Alvin, everyone. That's from Alvin. That's some love from Mr. Sudbury himself. I love it. I love it. Well, let me just wrap up here so everyone has something to break off. So it's Isaiah Henry here. We
Oh,
had Alvin today, Mr. Sudbury himself.
okay.
We talked a little bit about the portfolio, about working with the team, about, you know, sticking to a region and really just kind of that growth in your portfolio and everything. So super excited to have Alvin. Alvin, where can people reach you if they want to learn more about what you're doing, get involved? Where can they reach out to you?
Oh yeah, you can message me on my IG tag. So that's this is Alvin Wong, and I know you posted all my IG tag all over your Instagram. So thank you so much. So this is Alvin. That's the best way to reach me. Yeah.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. You heard it here first, Alvin Wong. It's Isaiah Henry, First Position Real Estate. I help government employees in Ontario invest in real estate so they can build wealth and retire early. Alvin Wong, until next time, I wish you all the best, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Okay, talk soon. Thank you.
See you, buddy.